Hawaii, to Americans, an enchanting island territory, 2,000 miles from the mainland, to the Japanese Pearl Harbor, an enemy bastion. For 2 years, Europe has been at war. But in Honolulu, people talk of pineapples, sugarcane, money, and tourists. The year is 1941. There is still time for one more aloha. Still time to enjoy tropical skies and sweet music, flowered layas, and the hula. Here in the islands, the war is only a distant rumor, carried faintly across the radio. The Great Fleet rides easy at its moorings. Sailors stroll on liberty, palm trees bending in the warm trade winds. A paradise certain it lies beyond the reach of any enemy. But far to the west, another morning is already breaking. On another Pacific island, beyond the international dateline, events that will change the course of history are maturing with reckless rapidity. Tokyo, the brain of the Japanese Empire. It looks brisk, efficient, modern, as is proper for the capital of the most thoroughly industrialized nation in the East. And yet simultaneously, two opposed levels of culture exist side by side, Oriental and Occidental. Social, economic, and religious idealisms from an isolated past survive, overlaid with industrial methods and Western ways. The face of Japan is baffling, a strange mixture of the very ancient with the brand new. But one face is familiar. The world has learned to recognize aggression, and Japan is marching, harnessing the technique she has learned so well from the West to the ideas cultivated in the East. Hakoichiu, Japan's divine mission to bring the 8 corners of the world under one roof. Bushido, the sacred code of the warrior and the glory of conquest. City after city falls. First, Japan conquered Manchuria. Then she struck at China. Incident after incident, victory after victory, forging her new empire, the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere. And the world begins to catch the ominous sound of a strange new word, banzai, a cry of triumph that masks a deeper anxiety. But behind the bright banners and the arrogant words, the Japanese High Command ponders a dilemma. To realize its dreams of conquest, the war machine must have the oil of Southeast Asia, and Japan has none. With the European powers locked in a war of survival, only America's Pacific Fleet stands as the major obstacle to Japanese domination of Asia and the Pacific. And so, the ruling militarists hatch a fiendish plan to remove that obstacle, to sink the United States Navy. The guns are sighted on Pearl Harbor, the key to America's defense in the Pacific, the headquarters of the United States Pacific Fleet. Japan knows the attack she is planning means war. But if she can sink the principal striking force of the United States Navy, the prize is worth the risk. Such bold designs demand hard study and exact intelligence. The Hawaiian Islands are scrutinized, especially Oahu with its principal targets, Honolulu, Pearl Harbor, the major airfields. Installations of every kind, forts, naval bases, warehouses, dry docks, every military factor of importance is pinpointed for the coming attack. Block by block, ship by ship, the target is taken apart on paper. But the heart of the assault will center on Ford Island, in the middle of Pearl Harbor, around which the American fleet is moored. Intelligence reports the main enemy force here, the destroyers here, the cruisers, the converted target ship, Utah, the seaplane tender. There is little the Japanese do not know in advance. The Navy's finest pilots are picked to deliver the assault, which will be carried out entirely by carrier-based aircraft. Technically and emotionally, their indoctrination is as perfect as human ingenuity can make it. By late October 1941, dress rehearsals for the attack are secretly staged, over terrain chosen for its resemblance to Pearl Harbor. Air crews hold repeated, highly realistic maneuvers, perfecting their teamwork, practicing their approaches, sharpening their marksmanship. Plans and decisions become orders and actions. Through the autumn of 1941, the plan hardens from intention into machinery. A daring idea becomes a schedule, a sailing order, a date. Events move with relentless precision toward their climax. In early November, Admiral Yamamoto, designer of the Pearl Harbor attack, orders his striking force to advance into Hawaiian waters and, upon the very opening of hostilities, to destroy the main force of the United States Fleet. On November the 16th, the ships, singly and in small groups, slip out to sea to rendezvous in a hidden harbor in the remote Kuril Islands, far north of Tokyo. A week later, the Pearl Harbor striking force is assembled and weighs anchor for Hawaii. 4,000 miles and 12 days away, the task force maintains strict radio silence and travels a roundabout course off the normal shipping lanes. Dirty weather and heavy seas help to veil its progress. There has never before been so powerful a striking force in the Pacific. 2 fast battleships, 6 of Japan's newest and finest carriers, a screen of 8 destroyers, 3 cruisers, and 3 submarines. Aboard the carriers, 40 torpedo bombers, 135 dive bombers, 104 horizontal bombers, and 81 strafing planes. A total of 360 aircraft. Preparing themselves for the attack, the pilots pause at gentle shrines to renew their dedication to the spirits of their ancestors. In the gray dawn, men bow their heads, reaching back before the killing to the spirits of their fathers. On every flight deck, the pilots receive last-minute intelligence on Pearl Harbor. They prepare to strike for the glory of Japan. The last reports are read aloud. Every ship in the harbor is known, named, and marked for destruction. Admiral Nagumo, commander of the task force, delivers the final message from Imperial headquarters in Tokyo. Nitaka Yama Nobore, climb Mount Nitaka, the code to attack. The words pass from deck to deck, and the fleet steadies itself for what is to come. There can be no turning back now. Far to the south, in the dark before dawn, an unsuspecting island sleeps beneath the same stars. A fresh northwesterly trade is blowing, and the helmsmen swing their carriers into the wind while launching the planes. The carriers heel into the wind, and the planes roar off into the half-light, climbing and circling until the whole striking force hangs in the air above the sea. Latitude 26 degrees north, longitude 158 degrees west. The launching point. Pearl Harbor lies 275 miles to the south. It is 0600. It is X-Day. 275 miles of open water lie between the carriers and their target. The planes form into a great arrowhead and bear south toward an island still wrapped in sleep. Below them rolls the Pacific, gray and indifferent. The pilots hold their course by the rising sun, each man alone with his thoughts and his orders. There is no sound now but the steady drone of engines, 360 aircraft, carrying the war across the last stretch of empty sea. Minute by minute, the distance closes, and half a world away in the offices of Washington, the warnings are only beginning to stir. 5,000 miles away, in Washington, it is almost noon at the Navy Department. The intelligence experts have had a puzzling Sunday morning. Some time ago, they broke Japan's most carefully guarded code, and now they have deciphered a dispatch from Tokyo to the Japanese embassy. Secret instructions: reject America's request for mediation in the Far Eastern crisis. Order negotiations broken off. Exactly what this means, no one knows. Secretary Cordell Hull awaits another crucial conference with the Japanese ambassador and a special envoy from Tokyo, scheduled for 1 o'clock. The Japanese have asked for a 45-minute postponement. But there is no delay in the flight of their warp planes toward Hawaii. In the embassies and the cabinet rooms, the language of diplomacy goes on. Notes exchanged, meetings arranged, postponements requested. The words are courteous, careful, and already meaningless. Oahu. Sunny, relaxed, peaceful, flying weather good. Visibility clear. Slowly, life begins to stir on the island. Dawn comes gently to the island, as it has come 10,000 times before. The light spreads across the cane fields and the quiet streets, across ships at anchor and men still asleep in their bunks. It is Sunday morning. Church bells will soon be ringing. Nowhere in all of Oahu does anyone imagine that these are the last peaceful minutes island will ever know. At an Army radar station, a private practices as he waits for the breakfast truck. He picks up planes approaching from the north and tracks them for a few minutes before reporting to Air Force headquarters at Hickam Field. But the planes are thought to be American. 10 minutes to 8, December the 7th, 1941. Out of the north they come, low against the climbing sun, the first wave. 183 aircraft, led by Commander Mitsuo Fuchida, sweeping down upon a sleeping fleet. At 7:48, the torpedo planes bank toward Battleship Row. Across the radio crackles the signal to Tokyo. Tora, Tora, Tora. The surprise is complete. Pearl Harbor's shallow water was thought to shield the fleet. But the torpedoes have been fitted with wooden fins to run shallow and true. And one by one they find the great gray hulls. The Oklahoma takes torpedo after torpedo along her port side. Slowly, with a terrible groan of steel, she rolls over, trapping hundreds of men beneath the harbor. The West Virginia settles upright in the mud. The California begins to sink, and along the row, fire spreads across the oil-blackened water. At 10 minutes past 8, an armor-piercing bomb plunges through the deck of the Arizona and into her forward magazine. In an instant, more than 1,000 men are gone, the battleship gutted by a single cataclysmic blast. Above the airfields, Hickam, Wheeler, Ford Island, Canoe, the fighters come strafing. Rows of American planes, parked wingtip to wingtip, burn where they stand. The defenders fight back with whatever they can reach. Sailors man machine guns still slick with grease. Anti-aircraft fire climbs into the smoke, blind and furious. Only the Nevada finds steam. She backs from her berth and stands down the channel, the one battleship underway, before the bombers force her aground to keep the channel clear. For a brief lull, the sky empties. Then, just before 9 o'clock, the second wave arrives. 170 more aircraft, diving through an anti-aircraft fire grown fierce and ready. They press the attack on the ships already broken, on the dry docks, on the airfields wreathed in flame. The harbor that began the morning at peace is now a single, burning ruin. Rescue boats move through the blazing oil, pulling men from the water. Some will be cut from capsized hulls in the days to come after tapping against the steel from within. Across Oahu, the wounded are carried to hospitals overwhelmed within minutes. Doctors and nurses work without pause as the casualties keep coming. By now the men know this is no drill. Word races across the island and leaps the ocean to the mainland. America is under attack, and the war so long feared has come. Still, the planes work over the harbor, methodical, unhurried, for there is almost nothing left to oppose them. The mighty Pacific Fleet lies broken at its moorings. Smoke towers thousands of feet above Oahu, black against the tropic blue, a signal of disaster, visible for miles out to sea. Here a magazine cooks off. There a fuel line ruptures into flame. The dead lie where they fell and the living labor on, amid the wreckage of the United States Navy. By 9:30, the last of the raiders turn away to the north, climbing toward the carriers that launched them. Behind them, they leave a harbor transformed. The clamor of battle fades into a steadier, more dreadful sound. The roar of burning oil, the hiss of steam, the cries of men still trapped in the dark. For nearly 2 hours, the attack has raged. In that short span, the balance of power in the Pacific has been overturned and a nation hurled into war. Now the firing slackens. The skies over Oahu fall quiet, but for the crackle of flame and the drone of a few friendly planes searching too late for an enemy already gone. The fleet that was the pride of America lists and smolders in the shallows. 8 battleships, the spine of the Pacific Fleet, sunk or shattered where they lay. And as the smoke begins to thin, the last of the attackers form up far out over the open sea. The pilots and the planes depart. Never in modern history has a war begun with so smashing a victory. In 1 hour and 50 minutes, the Japanese have sunk or shattered 8 battleships: Oklahoma, West Virginia, Arizona, Nevada, California, Tennessee, Maryland, Pennsylvania, along with 3 cruisers, 3 destroyers, and 4 smaller ships sunk or battered. Battleship Row, the pride of a nation, lies broken and burning. Names that stood for American power now mark the places where men have died. "188 planes and most of their hangars demolished. The airfields are graveyards of aircraft, the hangars gutted, the runways cratered. In a matter of minutes, American air power in the Pacific has been all but wiped away. The Japanese have lost 29 planes. 68 of their pilots and sailors are dead, and 5 midget submarines, which tried to penetrate Pearl Harbor, are beached or sunk. One of the cheapest military triumphs on record. Suffering, agony, death. 1,178 men wounded, 68 civilians dead, 109 Marines dead, 218 soldiers dead, 2,008 sailors dead, more than 2,400 dead in a single morning. From that grief, resolve is born. In Tokyo, the government loses no time in exploiting the news of Pearl Harbor, Japan's greatest victory. With pride, an autocratic regime informs an amazed population of its newly won prize. Propaganda carries on where the bombers left off. Japan's mission, they proclaim, is being fulfilled. The 8 corners of the world will be brought under one roof. The militarists have kept their promise. They have demonstrated the power of the Japanese Empire. They have done the impossible. They have sunk the United States Navy. The head of their government, war minister and dictator, Tojo, accepts the conqueror's laurels and rejoices with his subjects. For a season, it seems the militarists were right. The flags wave, the newsreels boast, and a triumphant Japan believes the war already half won. But pride is a poor prophet. In the very completeness of the victory lies its flaw. For a wound to the body is not a wound to the will, and across the ocean, a vast nation has been roused to a single, unbending purpose. Pearl Harbor. It looks as though the Japanese propagandists are right, so it seems, in the aftermath. But while the hulks are still hot from the attack, experts and technicians are being flown in from the mainland. The most extraordinary salvage job in history begins. Hidden in the havoc wrought by the new enemy are the seeds of a miracle. In the ruins, there is life. What the enemy could not see in the hour of his triumph was everything he had failed to destroy. The repair yards still stood. The great fuel tanks, full to the brim, stood untouched. And the aircraft carriers, the true power of the war to come, had been far out at sea when the bombs fell. They would return to a wounded base, but a base still very much alive. Even now, among the smoking hulls, the work of resurrection begins. What the enemy meant for a grave, the Americans will make a beginning, raising their fleet, plank by plank from the mud of Pearl Harbor. With the dead lies the vision of a shattered fleet, hidden in a pall of fire and smoke, and the vengeance of the United States. Out of ruin, a reckoning. Out of defeat, the long road back. The war in the Pacific has only begun. Dead ships sail again. The fleet has arisen from Pearl Harbor,